Hitmen can be caring fathers too. This might sound like an impossible thing, but that's exactly the premise of this new action movie called Killcraft. Written and directed by Mark Savage and released on June 4th, 2024, this movie narrates the story of a young girl whose veteran hitman father dies unexpectedly, leaving her alone to fill his big, bloody shoes. Thomas DeLonge hides in the woods as a sniper and takes down a group of men effortlessly. He walks over to the pier to check if they are all really dead, unaware that another man is hiding in the bushes and aiming at him. He gets shot in the leg too, which causes him to take cover behind a dead body, put his hand through its guts, and finish his enemy with a final bullet. Meanwhile, Thomas's daughter, Marina, is mourning the death of her pet dog as she buries it in the pet cemetery with the help of her friend, Freya. She watches her hitman father return home with a gunshot wound in his leg that he bandages himself. On the other hand, a man named Poe drives to the mansion where Mr. Freeman is chilling in the pool. Freeman invites Poe into the pool with his clothes on, humiliates him, and then assigns him a list of names to assassinate, one of them being his ex-wife. He makes it clear to Poe that there's no room for error with this job. Marina half-heartedly cares for her sick mother, Ruth, and it's clear that they don't get along. Ruth stays bitter due to her physical disability, while Marina goes out for a walk with Thomas. He lies to her about his foot injury and stays vague about whether he'd show up at school for her recital. They're enjoying their bonding time as they walk through the woods onto the beach until Thomas gets a text. He digs up a glass bottle with a scroll inside and reads the message with confusion. He puts the paper back inside the bottle and buries it again when Marina creeps up on him. When they come back to the house, Ruth throws an unnecessary tantrum and targets Marina even when Thomas takes a stand for her. Marina storms off as her parents keep arguing about how Thomas should tell Marina the truth. Poe takes one of his hitmen to the woods as he hasn't been able to complete his assignments lately. Poe shoots him dead after when he licks his blood off his gun in the most disgusting manner. Marina and Freya are in trouble at school for beating up a girl. While Marina doesn't usually act up, she wanted to support Freya in her fights, which ended up with both of them in 2 weeks worth of detention. They're also given letters that must be signed by a parent and submitted back to school on Monday. Later on, they're burying a rat in the woods when Freya spots Thomas wandering off somewhere. The girls decide to follow him in their curiosity and run into Poe instead, who's equally surprised to encounter Freya. Poe runs away as soon as Freya calls out for Marina. Freya describes Poe's wretched face to Marina, but she doesn't pay much attention because she's focused on finding her dad. Meanwhile, Poe is losing his marbles as he staggers along the trees, talking to himself. The girls find Thomas on the beach digging up the bottle again. As soon as he leaves, they dig up the bottle to inspect it because they're assuming that he's having an affair. Freya takes pictures on the paper with her phone to look at it later. That night, Marina, apprehensive, watches Thomas buy drugs for Ruth from a suspicious man named Joe. Meanwhile, Poe punishes himself for being sloppy this morning and talks himself down in the mirror like a nutjob. The next day, Thomas takes Marina out into the woods to teach her how to shoot. He reveals that guns are sometimes a part of his job and even agrees to come to her recital. Elsewhere, Freeman's son, Kyle, brings him a demon figurine with a striking resemblance to his dad. Freeman appreciates Kyle's art but criticizes that he took inspiration from his father instead of his mother, which causes Kyle to walk out on him. Freeman worries about the fact that Kyle sees him as a monster. Soon enough, Freya cracks the code from Thomas's message and the girls discover a name and address. Thomas is heading down to a job when Ruth gives him an ultimatum to move out in 15 days. He tries to talk her out of it, but she doesn't agree, much to Marina's dismay, who overhears them and cries. The next day, Thomas drives Marina to school and promises her to see her this evening for her recital. Sadly, he's unable to make good on his promise because he bleeds out from another injury he gets on his job. Marina cries her heart out while playing the violin because her dad didn't show up after all. She later searches for Thomas and finds him dead in a stranded car in the woods near their house. She calls Freya and dig up a grave together to bury Thomas. Marina figures out that Thomas was a hitman and doesn't go to Ruth or the cops because she doesn't trust them. But she confronts Ruth later about Thomas's occupation, which confirms her suspicions. Ruth further discloses that she also had to pay for the misery he created in the world, which is how she lost her legs. Marina learns that her father was necessary for their father's survival. Meanwhile, Poe gets crazier by the second after kicking out his regular prostitute. Marina lies to Ruth that Thomas is absent because of an affair while she takes a gun from his lair and completes his next job herself. She takes over Thomas's job while keeping up the pretense that he is still around. When she fails to shoot Freeman's ex-wife, she befriends Kyle, who shares her trauma of having a detrimental dad. Poe catches on to what Marina has been up to and attacks her, robbing his dead mother's grave to get her inner peace. Freya jumps in to rescue Marina from Poe's grip and gets shot in the process. Poe continues to hunt for Marina, which ends up in a shootout between him and Marina. She wins with Ruth's help, and they mend the relationship in the wake of Thomas's death, right before Marina cripples Freeman for life, only sparing his life so that Kyle can still have a father. While unnatural, the plot of this movie revolves around the idea of how poor choices by different twisted individuals can create a never-ending cycle of misery and suffering. This is shown in how Thomas's unhealthy lifestyle doesn't die down with him, but instead passes down to his daughter. Other subplots show how neglected kids like Freya can find their family among friends in the absence of their parents. The only notable performance among this cast was delivered by Bill Oberst Jr., who acts well enough for the audience to equally despise and be disgusted by the antagonist, Poe. Other cast members and the director still have a long way to go because the dialogue and the sequence of this movie is all over the place, which is more off-putting when the actors fail to switch expressions between scenes. The film makes good use of the woods and beach location to add a variety of settings, but the camera work and gore effects are painfully inadequate. The film shows excessive bloodshed and guts spilled, which horrifies the viewer due to how unrealistic those visuals are. One might struggle to take the deaths seriously because of how fake everything looks, which may be understandable for a low-budget film, but still disappointing in this year and age where VFX has come so far. The film only plays old-school dramatic music and pivotal moments throughout the story and relied mostly on Foley sounds, a majority of which was different kinds of gunshots. At the moment, it even feels like they could have added more sense of atmosphere to the otherwise boring scenes by adding more atmospheric surround sound to invoke some thrill or life in their action sequences. It doesn't come as much of a surprise this movie failed badly, being able to get only a 2.5-star rating on IMDb and no response on Rotten Tomatoes as of yet. Since this wasn't a commercial movie, the box office performance also hasn't been noteworthy. Our guess is that it drove away the cult following of gritty action movies with its unimpressive action scenes. All in all, we would not recommend you give this movie a watch unless you're looking for some brain rot to pass your time. This movie falls flat on almost all aspects and fails to keep the viewer interested or even amused. If you still decide to watch it, beware of the gore witch that stays consistent throughout the movie, so it's not advisable to watch it with the kids or the faint of hearted. And that's it. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and share, and subscribe to our channel to watch the latest and exclusive movie reviews. If you have any requests, thoughts, or recommendations for movie reviews, just drop them below in the comment section, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.